I think they're there. So I think it's going to work out just right. Touch without knowing people's heads off. That's one official. So he's waiting for the other one, and they're coming out.
So that's all working. Hello everybody and welcome back to Borough Radio. My name is James McIntosh and we are just about to kick off here at the AEI Stadium where Gosport are taking on a huge league clash where we take on Tiverton Town. Tiverton, they've had a poor start to the season, picking up just 2 points this season. And Gosport, we look to have found form after an impressive win in the FA Cup, which saw a 4-0 win over Andover New Street. And this is how our visitors line up today. Number 1 in goal, Flashera Pagel. 2, Nigel Thomas. 3, Dylan Jones. 4, Michael Baker. 5, Joshua Jones. 17, Benjamin Goering. 6, Matthew Britton. And that's also their skipper today. 8, Asahul. 14, Jeffrey Foku. 7, Javen Roy. And 19, Joe Parker. Their substitutes today sees 12, Theo Jeremy on the bench. 15, Jay Murray. 16, Tor Swan. Ryan Crawford. And 11, Farron Simmons. Your Gosport lineup today sees Max Evans starting goal. 2, Harry Kavanagh. 3, Roy Williams. 4, Finley Will-Smith. 5, Joe Morrison. 7, Bradley Tarbuck. 8, Asher Yearwood. 9, Dan Wooden. 11, Alfie Stanley. 18, Richard McIntyre, who comes back into the starting 11, as well as 9, Dutchy Hollins. Your Gosport bench today sees 10, Samuel Fanian. 15, Paul Agbesi. 16, Ethan Jones. 17, Harry Lee. And 20, Cameron Murray, who started practically every game this season, but he's on the bench today and he's earned a much well-earned respect, getting on the bench today. So he's going to have a little bit of a breather today. But both teams, they've just come onto their pitch today. It's Tiverton in their away strip in their all-purple kit. A nice little kit. And Gosport, we're in our traditional yellow kit. Back to the new kit today after wearing our old shirt for the last 2 seasons. Games, sorry. But the floodlights, they've just turned on. Rain is slowly pouring down onto the pitch. So maybe a bit of a slippery surface today. But it's only going to add to more entertainment. Jeremy, I mean, what a game we have today against Tiverton. Tiverton, they've only picked up 2 points this season, but looking at their players, they're a team we really can't afford to underestimate today.
Nor any other team in the league. It's good afternoon, James, by the way. Good afternoon, listeners. Yeah, it's a tough league. You know, I've said it sort of week in, week out. You look at the teams around the division, none of them are easy. If you say, oh, this is an easy game, you're going to end up on your backside. I think Tiverton are due respect. As you say, they've got a squad full of absolute quality there. And for whatever reason, they've only picked up a couple of points. But you look at the quality of Niall Thompson up front. He's just so experienced. And Ben Gehring, who used to play here at Gosport, a stellar career at so many non-league clubs. And yeah, you look around their team sheet and you think, well, why? But they're going to give us a tough workout today, no doubt about it.
Well, definitely. They finished 14 in the league last season, and you would expect it might be a similar performance today. They're looking for their first win, maybe even getting a point. It'd still be massive for them. But Gosport, we also looked to have found form recently. A 4-0 win over Andover New Street. Surely that's only going to boost our momentum going into today.
Momentum's everything in football, isn't it? And yeah, last week that was good progression in the FA Cup, and that's given us a tough game next week.
Yeah.
That's not going to be easy by any stretch. But let's worry about today first. And yes, I think it will give them added confidence that the squad's settled down. A few injuries out there today, unfortunately, that there'll be no Jake Cope, no Charlie Wassmer. And of course, you've got the ongoing long-term injuries with Harry Medway and Zach Sharp.
Yeah,
well, there's a few missing.
Exactly, but like you said, it's going to be a massive day today for Gosport. We did win 4-0 last week in our FA Cup game, but it's time to turn back to the league. I think all the fans are buzzing for it, and it looks another good attendance today.
Yeah, it's a good turnout. I mean, you've got no Pompey at all today because it's the international break, and being in the Championship now, that automatically they'll have no game on an international break. So you'd like to think we've attracted a few more. Looking at about 600 or 700.
Well, it looks like a good And Gosport, we're just about to kick off. It's Dutchy Hollins. He's in the centre circle. We're just waiting for the referee to blow his whistle now. But I'm just watching out for the third official. He's just currently talking with Pat and Joe. So I'm just trying to work out what's going on down
Yeah,
there.
there's been something, but even before the players were coming out, there was something that this same official wasn't happy with. So I wish I could have been a fly on the wall to that conversation. The lights are on from the start, which doesn't surprise me, given it's a dank, grey, wet afternoon. And we're only in the first week of September.
But we are underway here at the AEI Stadium where Gosport, we're taking on Tiverton Town as it's Kavanagh. He's immediately coming down this right-hand channel as he passes back to Finley Walsh-Smith. And I want to talk about Finley Walsh-Smith as well. He looked really good against Andover New Street and he's got a real point to prove today in an already good Gosport defence.
Yeah, I think design or by circumstances, I'll pick out young Finn Walsh-Smith. He's having a good run in the side at the moment, and I think he's already produced performances beyond his years.
Well, definitely. And like I said, Gosport, we're just playing it in the centre of the park at the moment as Kavanagh, he volleys the ball forward into Tarbuck. Tarbuck, he touches it down well, 20 yards away from goal as he's pouncing on the right-hand side of the box. He delivers across, finds the feet of Stanley, and Stanley just volleyed the half volley there towards the keeper. Went straight down the throat of Pagel, but brilliant work from Bradley Tarbuck whipping in that ball, and just unlucky from Stanley there. Looked like he slightly slipped towards the final, but...
Yeah, tough chance. It sort of happened very quickly, and it was a good move going forward there from Gosport Borough. Stanley had to correct his feet quite quickly to be able to try and take the chance. And yeah, just a bit too complicated, but I'd love to see the positive start there for Gosport.
And Jeremy, I bet you're happy at the moment to see all the home games on the calendar. 4 home games. I mean, just to start, it's nice to see so many home games on the calendar.
It is, but then you think that's a lot of time for the volunteers to sort of come down and work. You know. God knows I've had trouble clearing next week with my missus. So because she just said, why again next week? And I said, well, blame the FA Cup draw for that one. But yeah, look, it's nice. It's good for the income as well. It's good to fill the club's coffers. A home game is worth several £1,000s, not just with ticket sales, but with the second spend in the bar and so forth. So it's good for the coffers, certainly. But then you'll know there'll come a time this season where there'll be a run of aways.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I don't think I would have really fancied making the trip to Gloucestershire. A bit of a trek. And I mean, Tiverton, they've made a 3-hour trip today. And I mean, I did see them warm up a bit later than usual. Like normally we see the teams, well, both teams on the pitch instantly. But Tiverton, it took their while to get on the pitch today for the warm-ups. And could that affect them?
It's not. It works one of two ways. It can either inspire you or hinder you.
Well, Bradley Tarbuck, he's just outside of the box. He's arriving. He's going to go for a shot. It was a low-driven shot. Looked like it was just curling towards that bottom left corner. But Pagel, he just got down well, grabbing the ball and making sure he didn't spill it.
Fairly straightforward save there for Pagel. And yeah, we're talking about Tiverton's travelling. It's a nasty journey. And it's just as bad for Gosport when they do it in reverse. So, you know, the 8th. Anybody knows though. You know.
Yeah. Well, like I said, a rainy day. I mean, just not enjoyable. And I'm sure Tiverton, they will be hoping to go home with the 3 points today. I know we've got a lot of Tiverton viewers, but currently Gosport, we're back on the attack again. And so far, it has been heavy Gosport pressure. But like I said, only been a couple minutes in this one. It is Gosport 0, Tiverton 0. As it was Thomas Sale on the far side, he just played a ball forward and it finds Rory Williams inside his own half. As he passes back into Max Evans. Max Evans, he thumps one forward into Richard McIntyre. Richard McIntyre, he didn't start the FA Cup clash due to, well, legal reasons, I suppose, with Oxford. But Richard McIntyre, I suppose he'd be wanting to come back today, try and get fitness again. Although I would imagine he would have played a couple games with Oxford United.
Yeah, it's always the way when you've got players on loan. The parent clubs very often don't want them cut tied in case they need them at a later stage. And of course, Oxford will come in at the 3rd round proper, along with Portsmouth. And they might just need Richard McIntyre. Yeah. If he's cut tied playing for little old Gosport, then that's no good for them. So it's often the way. It doesn't surprise me. But yeah, why not? It gives him a chance to come back in and make a good impression.
Well, would it be nice to see some of these youngsters on the bench? And hopefully we might be able to see them back in the FA Cup, where fingers crossed we can draw one of these bigger teams. We did draw Colchester a few years back, so it'd be nice to draw one of those teams again.
We've got to get that far, though, first, James. And yes, I remember... I'm just seeing what happens here. Yes, I remember that Sunday afternoon all too well. And interestingly, a little bit of trivia for you. Two players on this pitch, 3 actually, all played in that game. Dan Wooden, Rory Williams, and Tivy fans may know this one, Ben Gehring, who's playing against us. was a Gosport player and did play in that game.
Well, definitely a player to watch out today. But Dan Woodin, he was just inside the Tiverton half, around 5 yards inside. And Dan Woodin, he just got clamoured on there. You can hear one of the pundits saying he just, didn't think it was rugby. But it did look a little bit like a rugby challenge there. Just got clamoured on there, poor Dan Woodin.
Greco-Roman. But hey, look, it happens. And, there's in any game of football, you see a lot of grappling and shirt pulling going on out there. It doesn't matter who you are, it just goes on.
Well, Gosport, we've got a free kick, which has been short into Finley Wall-Smith. He plays a short pass into Tarbuck, but Tarbuck is just a heavy touch, which sees it go out of play just nearby Pat and Joe's dugouts. And it just gives Tiverton a little chance to just restructure their formation, try and carve an attack, because so far it's all been Gosport. But the throw has been taken. It's just trying to work its way onto Hall, who just headers it out. Falls kindly for Kavanagh, and it just has fizzled out for another throw in just on the near side. Probably 20-ish yards inside Gosport's own half is Kavanagh. He launches a throw forward into skipper Roy Williams. He plays a low-driven pass into Asher Yearwood. And Asher Yearwood, he touches it down well, and he's just inside Tiverton's half as he's trying to escape the pressure from Thompson. But he passes back into Roy Williams. Williams looks up as he plays the pass back into Morrison. Morrison just playing it across the floor into Finley Wall-Smith. The youngster, he's coming forward, passing it into Kavanagh. Kavanagh, he's up against Jones. Does get past Jones as he passes it into Dan Woodin. Dan Woodin, he's trying to get a ball into Tarbuck, and he does get into Tarbuck. Tarbuck right in the box. He's cutting inside a number 3, which is Jones, but just loses possession there into Baker. And now Tiverton, they're coming forward. It's Parker, he's through on goal. 2 Parkers in the lineup today. He's just trying to get past Joe Morrison, but Joe Morrison, he just tracking back well. But still, Parker, he's done well enough just to release the ball into Jones in this right-hand channel. Jones, right at the penalty box, he crosses the ball in, finds the head of Joe Morrison once again, winning his aerial battles. But still, Tiverton, they've won it just outside of the box. Another ball into Jones, right at the penalty box. Finds the head of Parker, and Parker just can't get a glancing header, just can't guide it into that net. Instead, he glides it just against the face of goal, and it's trickled into the left-hand channel, just near the corner flag, as it's Thompson. He whips in a ball, and it's straight into the gloves of Max Evans there, who calmly controls it. But a good effort there from Tiverton.
Good chance for them. And it was always inevitable that the Gosport have had the lion's share of the possessions in the first 7 minutes, but it was always inevitable that Tivy are going to settle down and start playing their football, and that's what they've started to do. Good opening, good run there from Parker through the middle and engineered the chance. Couldn't quite get the header on target, but let it serve as a warning to Gosport.
Well, I was just looking at that attack there, and it looked like they were always trying to get across. And it's obviously because Park and Wright, let's be real, they're 2 pretty tall players. I mean, Joe Morrison, he's normally good when it comes to aerial duels, but it does look like that could be an issue today if they can continue succeeding down that route.
Well, we'll see. It's early days yet, but we'll have to see how the game develops. But Tivy just building from the back once more.
Well, it's Wright who just passed it back into Jones there, the right back. Obviously a non-league veteran. Played all of Tiverton's game this season as he's coming down this right-hand channel. He tries to chip a ball forward, but it can't find any players in purple as it goes all the way back into a goal kick. And another aspect I'm looking at when doing these goal kicks, obviously we normally have a Charlie Vasmer in defence. And so far this season, Charlie, I would say he's pretty renowned for just hacking it forward all the balls. And I've seen a lot of fans message that on social media, just getting fed up with that high ball. But it looks like today we're starting to do it low. I mean, as I say that, Richard McIntyre, he hacks the ball forward. But it's nice to see the ball being played on the floor, and it's making for some nice football today.
Yeah, it's what I have noticed is what the fans are waiting for this season to see is the Morrison-Wasmer partnership in the middle. Let's just come back in a minute.
Well, Tarbuck, he chips the ball forward, and Gosport, they're back on attack. Asher Yearwood, he's left at the Tiverton penalty box. He chips in the ball. Can Downwood and get on the end of it. He tries to turn, but falls kindly to Bradley Tarbuck. He touches it down. Passed into Asher Yearwood. Asher Yearwood, he fakes Britain, and he passes into Finley Wall-Smith. Finley Wall-Smith, 30 yards away from goal, as he passes forward into Kavanagh. Kavanagh down this right-hand channel. He's trying to get past Jones, and he does get past Jones as he cuts in, passing it into Tarbuck. Tarbuck open in front of goal. He tries to shoot, but just all the purple bodies managed to get in front of the shot. And just Tiverton doing well there, getting their numbers back, and instead they're launching a counter attack. It's seen Parker, he's sprinting at goal just against Joe Morrison, but Joe Morrison, he won the pace battle, passed it back into Max Evans there. Before Max Evans, he gets it away from the danger zone, and Gosport, we just build on back on possession again. Both chances there for both teams.
Yeah, good defending at both ends. We'll start with the Tiverton defending. Yeah, that was really good defending, thorough defending. Yeah, purple shirts just surrounding Tarbuck. He had nowhere to go. Straight down the other end, and that was very tidy defending from Joe Morrison. Just stayed with him, did enough to put him off, and dealt with the danger.
Well, 10 minutes played here. It's still Gosport nil, Tiverton nil. It's Gosport. We've just got a free kick after Dutchy Hollins was brought down inside his own half. Rory Williams, he passes the ball forward into Alfie Stanley just outside of the centre circle. Now it's in Ashley Earwood. Ashley Earwood just left of the penalty box, 30 yards away from goal as he passes into Richard McIntyre. McIntyre, he stretches it into Harry Kavanagh in the right-hand channel. Kavanagh laying a through ball into Tarbuck. Tarbuck, he tries to put in a ball, but I just took a nice ricochet off Jones, and instead it goes back into Tiverton possession. And the ball has just once again been trying to thread forward into Parker. But Joe Morrison, he's reading all these passes really well here. And it just looks like he's starting to man mark Parker. And I would say this is where Tiverton, if they are going to get a goal, that's where it's going to come from. Just this loose ball. And they're just trying to instantly pass it forward into Parker, just hoping for that rare counter attack.
He's a lively player, isn't he? And I'm impressed by him already. And I think you're right. I think there's an outlet there for Tivy. And I think Gosport will need to be very, very alert there. Now, Rory Williams is on the floor. I hope he's okay. Is he going to need treatment, or is he just going to sort himself out? But at the moment, just inside the Gosport half, the captain is down. So we'll just have to see how serious that is or not.
But I suppose Rory, he's getting on now, isn't he, Rory? And there has been a couple of times this season where, yeah, you do have to wonder, though, injuries, they can get to players like him. Even Dan Wooden, I suppose, he had a few couple games off, I want to say, this season. But I just need to be careful. But he has got up as he does launch a free kick into Kavanagh. And Kavanagh plays it into Stanley. And Stanley just tucks it past the keeper into Pagel. It was a lovely finish from Stanley. And Stanley grabs his 5th goal in the last 3 games. Looks like the young Englishman has really found his form, but Stanley, he just calmly slotted it past the keeper. And we were just talking about Rory Williams there. He was injured, won a free kick, laid out into the right-hand channel into Kavanagh, and then Kavanagh, he just whipped a short pass into Stanley. Stanley calmly tucked it past Pagel, and just like that, Gosport take the lead on the 12th minute. Lovely goal from Stanley there.
Number 11, Alfie Stanley.
Well, I mean, Jeremy, I don't know what it is about Stanley, but I've said it a lot of times already this season. He looks like a completely different player to what he did last season. He's always finding good positions, and he's always tucking the ball in the back of the net now, it seems.
He is on a rich run of form, isn't he, Alfie? That was a really tidy finish there, to be fair. And in addition to his 2 goals last weekend as well against Andover New Street, he is on terrific form at the moment, and he's a joy to watch. And you're right, he's come a long way. He sort of didn't quite fit in last season when he first joined. And it was hard for him, and he didn't always nail down a regular starting spot. But he is playing with confidence. He is playing with panache. It is brilliant to watch. It's really good.
And do you think it is because he is starting to get the chances now? Last season we did have Rafa, and he was obviously occupying his position, but now he's getting the game time. Surely that helps his striker and just building confidence once again.
Well, that and good service as well, because that's as much of use to a prolific goal scorer as anything else. If you're not getting the service, then you're not going to get anywhere. And that was a brilliant example, I thought, James. There was a really good ball in and just a tidy finish. And brilliant, well-crafted goal from Gosport Borough. And they've thrown the challenge to Tiverton. Now you've got that might invite. I mean, Tivy have been trying to play on the counter-attack for the counter-attack for the first 12 minutes, but that might force them to come out a little more. But we'll see. Like I said, the game's still young, but that's the best possible start for Gosport.
Definitely.
Yeah. Are you still going?
Yeah, still just doing a few more tweets.
Okay, well, while James is tweeting, for any first-time listeners, always jump in and do the commentating. Just gives him a bit of a chance to do that. Now, on the left then, Rory Williams with Gosport Borough sporting that captain's armband, crosses the halfway line up to Yearwood, who's just 20 yards inside the Tiverton half. Holds on to it. He's got 2 men on him, but he still holds on. Pillar in my way now, but it does appear that Ben Gehring, the experienced Tiverton defender, has broken up that attack and launched it long down towards the run there. Not the last time we'll say this, of Joe Parker, but his namesake Joe Morrison has dealt with it, as he has done 3 or 4 times. But Tivy aren't finished. This is Asa Hall. Now, Tiverton just mounting an attack now. James, are you back?
Not yet, just doing this one last week.
That comes to naught with the sight of the offside flag from the assistant on that far side, which is Nyasha Mukachana, who has been quite, I think he's been on that so far this afternoon. And
and now I am back. But yeah, for any viewers just listening in at the moment, like I said, we do all the social media here. Got a lot of roles here in the media box today. Obviously, commentary, social media, announcing. We got everything going on today. I mean, I think you even did a bit of secretary role last season. No, not last season. Last game, was it?
Yeah, one of the games certainly. I think it might have been
I
the
can't
opening
remember
game
which
of the
one.
season.
It might be
where,
that, yeah.
the opening game of the season where we were a bit light on the ground, but it happens, and that's what non-league football's all about. You know, you can speak to any volunteer, and some more often than not, they're wearing more than one hat.
Well, definitely. Well, we'll return back to the football now. As it's right, he's just come down this right-hand stretch as he passes back into Jones. And Jones, he's just striding down the channel, just ran into danger there with Roy Williams. And Roy Williams, he just clatters it out of play on the far side. And he's just going to take a little bit of a while just to take this throw. And Gosport, we are now looking for our second goal as Alfie Stanley. He has given us a lead within the first quarter of an hour of this game, as it is Gosport 1, Tiverton 0. And it is just Gosport. We are just carving out another attack as Joe Morrison, he lumps the ball forward, trying to find Bradley Tarbuck, who's just he's beaten on the ball, shall we say, by Jones there, just losing on the muscle battle. But it's cool. He's coming forward, the former Yorkman. Oh no, thank you. But yeah, he's just coming forward, and it's number 14, Tiverton's number 14. He's coming down this right-hand church. It's this Gervin. He whips in a ball, and it finds Kavanagh. Just falls kindly for the right back, who did get the assist for the first goal, and he's now just trying to get out of the danger zone as he comes up against Jones. Kavanagh, he's still on the ball as he loops the ball back into Rory Williams. And Williams, he's going to cushion it down, just making sure no Tiverton player can get on the end of the ball. And he passes forward into Dutchy Hollins. Dutchy Hollins, I'm sure a familiar place, obviously well known for Pompey, Bournemouth, a very well known figure. And that's the same thing with both teams, actually. Both teams have these notable figures in their starting 11 today.
Yeah, and we've had this discussion before, haven't we, during commentaries, that a lot of seriously experienced players filter down through the levels. And yeah, and it's no surprise to me that both Gosport and Tiverton have experienced players in their lineups. Comes as no surprise.
Well, we were just talking about Dodgy Hollins there, and he just tried to play across into Harry Kavanagh. Harry Kavanagh, he can touch it down, but he has won a ball after Finley Walsh-Smith. He passed one on to him, but it just falls to Jones. And Jones, he does well to pass it back into Britton, and Britton, he lumps one forward, trying to find Wright, and Wright, he can't touch it down as it falls nicely into Finley Walsh-Smith, the young fullback. He passes back into Rory Williams, and it's gone all the way back into Max Emerson goal. I'll run you through some of the Southern League scores while Gosport, they're just building another attack. And AFC Tottenham, they've already taken the 1-0 lead against Basingstoke, and AFC Tottenham, they did get knocked out of the FA Cup last week, so I'm sure they'll be hoping to return back into winning ways. Bracknell 0, Hampton and Waterlooville 0, Chertsey 0, Winchester 1. I'm just going to cut off as Tiverton, they're back on the attack. It's Wright coming down this left-hand stretch against Rory. No, is it Rory? No, it's Bradley Tarbuck, sorry. But he passes back into Jones. Jones looks up. He passes into number 6, Barker. Barker across, and he's passed it into Britton. He's trying to keep it on play just near the Harry Mitson stand on the far side. Stanley, he's trying to touch it down, trying to put pressure, but he can't. It's just the Tiverton defence. They're doing well, just playing it among each other, but still, they're just trying to work it inside of Gosport's half. It's Gosport. We have playing pretty high line. We have played a high line all season, but Britton, he does try and play across into Parker, just can't find any Tiverton players. Before ball is eventually launched forward, and Richard McIntyre, he has touched the ball down inside his own half after winning a loose ball from Thompson. And now Tarbuck, he's coming forward. He passes across into Kavanagh. Still Gosport 1, Tiverton 0. I'll run you through the rest of the Southern League scores. And as I say that, there has been 2 more goals, so I must have missed that in the last minute. And it is now AFC Tottenham 2, Basingstoke 1. Yeah, just literally 2 goals within the last minute. Insane there. Dorchester, they've gone 2-0 up against Frometown. It is still Gosport 1, Tiverton 0. Despite not appearing on the Flash Score website, Marlow 0, Gloucester City 0. We'll be playing Gloucester City next week. Merthyr 0, Sholing 0. Plymouth Parkway 0, Wharton and Hersham 0. Swindon Supermarine, they're leading 1-0 against Poole. Taunton, they're 1-1 against Hanwell. And Wimborne, they're 1-0 up against Hungerford. They're all the scores currently. And I am looking out for that Bracknell score, because Bracknell, I mean, there's been a lot of changes that have happened there in the last week. Their managers left, and I would say a good couple of their players and their main players have left and joined bigger teams now.
Yeah, I wonder what the catalyst for that was, to be honest. In fairness, James, I wasn't aware of it, but I'll have to sort of do some digging and see what's happened. But it is a shame, but Bracknell are a good side and they're a good solid club. So I've no doubt that they will sort of reboot and go again.
Well, we will try and keep you up to date with that score, but Tiverton, they have got a free kick. It was Britton there with a free kick, just on the edge of the centre circle. It was pushed forward, trying to find a head of Hall, but literally no Tiverton players could get on the end of it. And as a result, Gosport, they have got a throw-in thanks to the ball fizzling out just near the right corner flag, around 5 yards away. It's going to be Harry Kavanagh. He's taking this throw-in. Dan Wooden, he's starting to make movement, but I would imagine Kavanagh might just pass it back into Finley Walsh-Smith. Currently one of the few players that is unmarked, but he does pass it into Tarbuck. And Tarbuck, he was just rushed there into making a pass, and it has been cleared out of play. And Tiverton, they have won a throw-in. Gosport fans just taking a while to put it back into play, but it's going to be Jones taking this throw in. A lot of Tiverton players now inside Gosport's half. I mean, around 25 yards-ish away from the goal with this throw in, but it is Jones with a throw in. He's still waiting to take it. Like I said, pretty much every player being man-marked. And thanks to every player being man-marked, Dutchy Hollins, he's nearly just won a ball. Still Jones, he's currently tussling, and he does well, getting the better of Hollins. And he passes back into Hall. Hall outside of the D, and he is brought down. The referee doesn't blow anything, despite the player wanting something. And Barker, he lays one back into Jones. Jones, he's going down this right-hand channel. Ball has been chipped in from Parker and falls nicely to Finley Will-Smith, who hacks one forward. But still, it's gone back into Tiverton with Britton. He gets on the end of the pass. He passes forward into Thompson. Thompson, he's chopping forward backwards as he's trying to release the ball inside the box, but falls kindly for Rory Williams as he lumps the ball forward. Can it get on the end of Downwoodin? It does fall to Downwoodin as he lays one back into Yearwood. Yearwood yet to get properly in this game as he's commonly coming up against Thompson. And since we have scored, it has been Tiverton. They are looking for that equaliser as Thompson, he's coming down this right-hand channel. He tries to play a ball into Hall, and Hall is just forced to run out of play. And it did come thanks to a good defending there from Rory Williams. Max Evans, he's going to take the time from the goal kick. And it just looks like since we've broken the deadlock here, Tiverton, they started taking the bulk of the possession now, Jeremy.
Two things have happened. Gosport switched off, and Tiverton have put their foot on the gas. Yeah, that was too easy for me. I think it was the number 8, went past 4 of our players without really being challenged. And yeah, I think Tiverton were always going to settle into the game. That was always going to happen. Gosport, though, they've got the goal lead. That doesn't mean you switch off at all. Now,
well, hopefully we can find one. As Richard McIntyre, he fired a ball into the box. It falls to Ashley Yearwood just outside, and it's touched down by Bradley Tarbuck, who goes for a shot, and it's sliced into the bottom right corner from 25 yards out. Bradley Tarbuck, he goes over to the Gosport fans to celebrate, and it was like the goal against Andover New Street. Nobody was expecting it, but it was just sliced into the bottom right corner. Lovely goal from Bradley Tarbuck, and that is his first league goal this season, and what a way to get it. Ashley Yearwood with the assist there, and Bradley Tarbuck just getting the goal. We were just talking about we need to be more ruthless in this final third, and I would imagine this has already made a mountain to climb for Tiverton, and it is Gosport 2, Tiverton 0. I mean, ironically, we were just saying there, we need to be more ruthless, try and get another goal just to cushion our lead, and that's exactly what Bradley Tarbuck did there.
Well, what do I know? Shut up, Jeremy. I was just saying we switched off, and then they go straight up the other end and get a second goal. But that's what they needed to do. They needed to. They had their feet on Tiverton's throat, stamp, just literally try and apply that killer touch, and they've done that. But yeah, I'd stand by my earlier comments. But yeah, that was the right reaction to them. To be fair. Now you're tweeting, so I'm gonna step in as we normally do. So Tiverton now 2-0 down, and here's Stanley through on goal. No, I think the referee's brought the play back. But just for a second there, I thought Alfie Stanley would have had an unchallenged run into the Tiverton area. But no, Tiverton are underway again. This is Niall Thompson with Josh Jones behind him. Now, Tiverton just playing keep ball in their own half at the moment. I was just about to say, now they have something of a mountain to climb. Never impossible in football, of course. And I always say that 2-0 is the most dangerous lead in football. And that's something I have believed for many, many years. And I don't change my opinion now. Gehring for Tiverton, and he's just held onto the ball well. Sorry, it wasn't Gehring, it was Asa Hall. But Tiverton still in possession. Back pass, back to Pagel, the goalkeeper, just slowing the game down. Stanley's just loitering, being like a little bee that buzzes around your head and you want it to go away. That was Alfie Stanley there. But in the end, Pagel did what I thought he should have done 10 seconds sooner and launched the ball up the pitch. So, Gosport 2, Tiverton 0, 23 on the clock. And good position for Gosport now.
Well, if you are Tiverton, how do you even get back into this now?
Well, you've got to go out there and be positive and keep doing what they're doing, because I think since about the 10-minute mark, they've actually come into the game.
I would have.
And they have caused Gosport problems, so they now need to just up their efforts another level.
Well, Gosport, we're now looking for our third as it is Gosport 2, Tiverton 0. And Tiverton, they are back on the attack, and they really do need to find a goal now just to hope to get back into it. I would imagine a third will just make that mountain even higher to climb. As Gosport, we're back on the attack as Asher Yearwood just outside of the centre circle. He plays one back into Rory Williams, still inside Gosport's own half. But he just slices the ball forward, trying to find the feet of Kavanagh, but instead finds the head of Britton as he just heads one just clear of Kavanagh and pretty much a lot of Gosport players there. And Gosport is just pinballing around between the two teams there. And I mean, Tiverton, we have seen it before where teams have come back. But I mean, if you look at Tiverton's form, I mean, 2 points. I mean, even just getting their form up now, I mean, they've only got 3 goals from their last 5, 12 goals conceded. I mean, if we're being realistic on paper, it looks like Tiverton, they have no chance of getting back from this.
Means nothing. I'm sorry, just hold that graphic there. See, that for me is a good point. Home to Dorchester. Dorchester, a form team. And then you look at that is also a good draw for them in a Devon derby against Parkway.
Plymouth Park. And even Chertsey, I mean, they're a tough team.
Chertsey are proved to be no mugs since they've come up. So you've got to remember, James, it's a tough league. It's hard. And if a team makes a poor start, there's no reason why they're not just going to suddenly click and go on a bit of a run. Last season, we saw Basingstoke. They had a bit of a poor start, and and half their fans wanted Dan Brownlee, their manager, gone. But then that same manager guided them to just the cusp of the top 10 by the end of the season. So things can change.
Well, I mean, if you even look at Basingstoke, what they're doing now, I mean, absolutely phenomenal. And I'm sure Tiverton, they will be hoping for something similar as they are back on the attack. And it is currently Baker just outside of the centre circle. He lays one across into Jones. Jones just by their dugout, and he's currently coming up against Tarbuck. He's just battling Jordan between the two places. He lays one back into Hull. He's an experienced player playing with the likes of Birmingham, Luton, Hull. But yeah, he's passed it across into Thompson. Thompson, the right back, he's very high up the field, and they are looking for a goal just to try and get back into it. And he does slay a pass back into Baker. Baker, he passes back. And Tiverton, they're playing nice football here, coming down the left-hand channel, but Finley Will-Smith, he stops all of that and passes into Dutchy Hollins. Dutchy Hollins, I mean, such an experienced player. I mean, an old player now, he's starting to get on, but I mean, just look at him now. He's controlling the centre of the park, and every time he is in this Gosport lineup, you just have to feel Gosport looks so much stronger with him.
Yeah, it's just some sort of a rumbling from down
I couldn't tell if it was thunder or not.
It was. I feels empty in the bin. That's what it is. There was me thinking it was a different kind of thunder then, but there you go. So because I was distracted, what player were you talking about? Sorry.
Oh, Dutchy Hollins.
Oh yeah, Dutchy. Yeah, fan favourite, and the team's not the same without him.
Well, definitely. I was just looking at a few. Got a lot of people filming the game. I mean, we got no VEO cameras, so I don't think we'll be doing any highlights for this game. So. Is there a VAR camera? Oh, I didn't even notice that. Well, I'm not sure if that's our one or Tiverton's. Must be. Maybe we will be doing highlights. He might be in luck. And hopefully we might have a third one to cover. Southie Stanley's just won the ball. He's currently charging at the Tiverton defence before releasing a shot. And it's just hacked over the Tiverton bar. I mean, it did look like it might have taken a small deflection. The referee has blown up for it, so it must have taken a deflection. But it just looked like it rolled off of Britain's foot and just took it over the bar. So in the end, it's an important deflection which diverted the goal.
Yeah, the referee saw it, you saw it, and I saw it. So yes, a corner it shall be, and it'll be from the right-hand side, and Tarbuck's going over to take it.
Well, let's see what Gosport can do here. I mean, Tiverton, they've got some tall players in this lineup, but not to say Gosport, we got some tall players. I think we got 2 goals last week against Andover New Street from corner situations. So can we do something here? You do have to wonder. Stanley, he's netted a few corners, and I mean, he has already scored today. So can he grab his second as Tarbuck? He raises his hand. He chips the ball in, finding the head of Hollins, but he just can't get a good enough header. But it does fall back into Tarbuck. Tarbuck, he's charging at the defenders, and the ball is just going up thanks to a huge ricochet. And the ball, it has just fizzled out around 10 yards away from the right corner flag. It does look like it will be a Tiverton throw-in. I mean, just a good chance there for Gosport, but well defended from Tiverton.
Very well defended from Tiverton, and you've got to give them great credit for that. And certainly Gosport utilised their set pieces to great effect last week against Andover New Street. And it's also going to have to be a good weapon against Gloucester next week as well.
Yeah, well, that's an absolutely huge game. I mean, we do want to get a good run in this year's FA Cup. But yeah, we'll be covering that game as well, hopefully next week against Gloucester City. I mean, I would imagine there'd be a few fans listening to that one. I know we have a few fans listening today from Tiverton, but for all the fans tuning in, or might have just tuned in, it is Gosport 2, Tiverton 0. I mean, Tiverton, they did look good for a good patch, Jeremy, but they're starting to fizzle out now, and it's starting to work onto Gosport possession once again.
I think you're always going to have spells in games, aren't you? It's just whether you make those spells count. Gosport are doing more of the attacking at the moment, but we are only half an hour in, or just short of half an hour. We've got a long way to go yet, and a Tiverton goal back in the next 15 minutes or so, then the game changes completely. I try not to be too antagonistic,
Yeah.
because we all know how quickly a game can change.
Well, like I said, it is still Gosport 2, Tiverton nil. I'm sure many fans, well, listening, would have just heard all the appeals here from the Gosport stand. It did look like there might have been just a slight handball appeal there. I think it more came off his shoulder rather than anything. But like I said, it was a bit like that FA Cup situation. You know, the one that was talked about recently on Match of the Day. Got a lot of controversy. But Tiverton, they do have a chance to work a goal here. As it was right, he was just left at the penalty box trying to chip a ball into Hall there. Just nothing really worked in the end for the attack. And it has gone all the way back into Jones now in defence. Jones, another experienced player in this Tiverton town, playing all three games this season, all three league games, that is. Now, I'm pretty sure Tiverton, they've been knocked out of all the cups this season already on. So at least Tiverton, they've got a chance to just solely focus now on the league. But Gosport, they're back on the attack again. Stanley winning the ball just outside of the centre circle. So he passes back into Asher Yearwood. Yearwood hasn't had too much to say in this game, but he has got one assist. So Yearwood, I suppose he's one of these players. He won't do much in a game, but when he does go, I mean, he will do something.
I don't think he's got a goal here at the AI yet this season, but I certainly think he scored a couple away from home already. But I will say this: don't forget the FA Trophy is yet to start for us at this level.
Yeah.
So Tiverton will have that.
Oh yeah,
they'll
FA
have their
Trophy.
own-
Yeah.
They'll have their own county cup competitions as well. But yeah, certainly they're out of the FA Cup. That unfortunately well beaten by Wimborne, I believe, last weekend. And Wimborne, all of a sudden, have just hit a little purple patch.
Yeah.
Newly promoted, but yeah, they've certainly hit a purple patch the last week or two.
Well, former Gosport player as well, Tim Sills managing them. But Asher Yearwood, he's currently battling just near the left corner flag. That is Tiverton's left corner flag. He was up against Jones there, just trying to win Gosport a ball. It has gone all the way back out for a Gosport throw-in, probably just midway inside the Tiverton half. It does see Rory Williams on the far side. He's going to be taking his throw-in. Actually, all of Gosport outfield players are currently inside Tiverton's half. So just to show, Gosport are still looking for this third goal. Just trying to close off the competition here. It's Alfie Stanley. He's in this left-hand channel. He passes back into Dutchy Hollins. He rolls the ball forward, but finds the feet of Thompson. He's trying to stride forward, but runs into danger, which sees Stanley. He wins the ball into Asher Yearwood. Yearwood left of the penalty box. He tries to lay one across into Stanley, but Stanley's just beaten to the ball there by Baker. He butchers one forward, and it does well to find the feet of Parker there. Parker, he was just currently tussling with Morrison there on the far side, and Parker, he has gone down. I mean, good play there from Joe Morrison, but at this also gone down. Our physio, she's just gone on to the and Rory. I would imagine he may be having to come off here. But Harry Lee, Paul Bessie, they're both warming up. So we do have the substitutes. It's today. And with 5 substitutes now allowed, I mean, at least can make those substitutions, not need to worry about it later on in the game.
Yeah, and that is an advantage, I think, now that we know that you can have 5 from 5. The Southern League are the latest league to adopt that rule. So that gives you more leeway, not only if you have, because we've seen it a couple of times in the last few years where either Gosport or teams have made all 3 of their substitutions as was, then they've had an injury. So now you've got the extra scope. Now yes, Rory is looking in some distress now, and Liv Bailey's out there with him. Now, I haven't seen the dreaded substitution signal yet.
No.
But I will keep an eye on the young lady and see if it comes. Now, he is on his feet.
Well, it might just be one of those injuries where he has to walk off.
Yeah, he is going off that side of the pitch. But
it does look like he's going to carry on. But Pat and Joe, they're just going to have to be wary. As there has been a stoppage in play, I will run you through the rest of the Southern League scores. I mean, Wimborne, they're 1-1 against Hungerford. Taunton, they're currently trailing 2-1 against Hanwell. Poole, they're trailing 1-0 against Swindon Supermarine. Plymouth Parkway, they're losing 1-0 against Walton and Hersham. And Merthyr, they're leading Sholing 1-0. And Sholing, they're making a long trip today. Marlow, Gloucester, it's 0-0 there. Gosport, it's obviously 2-0 here. Dorchester, they're leading Frome 2-0. Chertsey, they're 3-0 down against Winchester. So Winchester, they're starting to find their form now. Havant and Waterlooville, they're goalless against Bracknell. And AFC Totton, they're now 2-2 against Basingstoke. So that is a huge, it's a huge score currently in the Southern Premier League. So we'll definitely be watching out for that one. But AFC Totton, they're just starting to look like they are starting to just lose their form now. Obviously have ex-Premier League striker Charlie Austin at the helm. But, I mean, there has been a lot of goals there. So I wouldn't be surprised if he is on the goal sheet. But it is AFC Totton 2, Basingstoke 2 there. But Gosport, we're just currently just taking a goal kick. It looked like it might have just worked its way on to Dan Wooden, but it's gone all the way back into Kavanagh, just outside of the halfway line. It's gone into Ashley Yearwood, he's battling against Hall in the centre circle. Just Yearwood using his muscles there to pass it back into Kavanagh. Kavanagh lays one back into Dutchy Hollins. Once again, just right at the centre circle as he lays one across into Rory Williams, the other side of the centre circle. Kavanagh, he lays a lovely ball across into Richard McIntyre, but Richard McIntyre, he just doesn't have the pace, and I think the ball there just favoured Thompson just a little bit there.
Coming. Paul Agbasi's just been called.
So it's going to be Paul Agbasi coming on, and it's going to be Rory Williams coming off as he is back down.
Yeah, that's the end of his game, I think you'll find. And that is such a shame.
Well, I mean, especially with a player with that much experience, I mean, it's a massive loss for Gosport. But once again, Paul Agbesi, he's been a good defender, and I would like to see more of Paul Agbesi, and I suppose we will for the next second half, and 10 minutes left of this half.
Yeah, 10 minutes of the half to go, 2-0 up, and that will be the end of his afternoon, I'm afraid. And that is exactly what Gosport can do without, because they've already got a few injuries, and there's the sub.
And we can now confirm it is Rory Williams, our skipper. He's coming off, and in return, it's Paul Agbesi coming on.
Number 3, Rory Williams.
But Jeremy, like you were just saying there, it is a huge loss. But once again, we do have that defensive capabilities. And Paul Agbesi, I mean, like I said, he did a good job against Andover New Street. And I mean, in pre-season, he was brilliant. I mean, he was beating a lot of the Pompey players to the ball. I mean, he looks the real deal. And he can show what he's made of today.
Yeah, it's Paul's second spell here at Gosport Borough. And the first spell, he didn't really get in and around the first team. And he went off to Petersfield on loan. And but he's come back and he looks a very different proposition. He has improved noticeably.
I would say
he can more than hold his own out there. So it'll be a straight swap, possibly a little rejig. Now let's see how they're going to do it. I think it'll still be a back three, but it'll be interesting to see how this is going to work, because Rory was playing down the left, and that's not where Paul slotted in. So I'm imagining that Finwell Smith will now switch to the left, James, and Morrison through the centre of defence, and obviously Harry Cavan is going to have to get back and do his defensive duty, so it might even be 4 at the back.
Well, does this now test, I suppose, Pat and Joe, defence what they're made of? I mean, obviously it was probably the obvious change, but don't get me wrong, we still have the likes of Harry Lee on the bench and Paul Agbesi there.
That's not
I was going to say, that's a horrible challenge.
The Tiverton player competing with Agbasi, he slid head first along a wet pitch and head first into the advertising hoardings. I do hope he's okay. That was nasty.
Well, I was going to say, we saw a very similar incident against AFC Portchester. Well, that was when I was working for AFC Portchester. They were up against Hamble. I mean, it was one of their players just went straight in.
For that looked horrible.
Well, it just went head first as well. And with those, you can get concussions, everything wrong.
Now, I'm pleased
he is running.
It's just the board and not the actual fence, which is pure steel.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but that's not nice.
Definitely. Oh, yeah, just very lucky there, I suppose, the Tiverton player.
Yeah, there's a lot of luck involved, and I'm just glad he's all right. So James is just doing a tweet at the moment, so if anybody is following Gosport Borough's Twitter this afternoon, or X as it should now be, thanks, Mr. Musk. That's who's doing it. Now standing down the right-hand side of the area, crosses it in from the right-hand side. The ball fizzes across that 6-yard box. Nobody there to take advantage of it for Gosport Borough, but they're going again. Crossing from the left, but that is just over the bar, and no drama there for Tiverton to worry about. Now, that was McIntyre's cross from the left-hand side. Bit too deep, bit too much on it, bit too much pace on it. No problems there for Tiverton.
Well, it is still Gosport 2, Tiverton 0, and the other Southern League scores see AFC Totton 2, Basingstoke 0, Bracknell 0, Haventon Waterlooville 0, Chertsey 0, Winchester 3, Dorchester 2, Frometown 0, Gosport 2, Tiverton 0, Marlow 0, Gloucester City 0, Merthyr 2, Sholing 0, Plymouth Parkway 0, Walton and Hersham 1, Swindon, they're leading 1-0 against Poole, Taunton, they're 2-2 against Hanwell, and Wimborne, they're 1-1 against Hungerford, and Gosport, they're back on the attack as Dan Wooden. He was just coming down this left-hand channel, brought down just on the edge of the box. I mean, the referee, he's only blown up for a free kick there, just outside of the penalty box. I mean, it was a reckless challenge. Dan Wooden, he's still on the floor, so we hope he's not injured. But I mean, that was reckless there from, I want to say it was Hull who brought him down. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see a yellow card here, Jeremy.
Yeah, didn't see the offending player, but the referee's called that correctly. It was right on the edge and not on the inside. But the more concerning thing for me is that Wooden is down and not looking in a good way. Now, the
it has been a yellow.
Has gone to the lad walking away there, so keep an eye for his number.
I'm pretty sure that's... Is that Jones? I'm pretty sure it's Jones. Yeah.
Yeah, Josh Jones.
But anyway, so it was Josh Jones who brought him down. It looked like it was just sandwiching there between Jones and Hall. So it must have been Jones with his trailing leg that brought him down. Dan Woodin, he's back up by the looks of it. No, he's not back up.
No, he's not. He's still on his back. Liv Bailey's out with him, the Gosport physio, but he doesn't look in a good way. So this is going to be even worse news for Gosport now if he has to come off. Now, in the way of forward-going options, it would be A.O. Fanyon. For me, if they need to make the change. But he's back on his feet now, and we'll just have to see. But yeah, the referee's nailed that exactly right. It wasn't a penalty. That would have been the wrong decision. But it is still a dangerous position there. Now we've got a pillar right in
I was going to say, it's annoying he just couldn't have blown it a little bit further back.
Then that will tell me it's Tarbuck will take it.
I was going to say, I don't think I can really see anything from this free kick.
Yeah,
I can see it's Tarbuck on the ball.
Yeah, it's right on the corner.
Yeah, I was going to say.
On the left-hand side there. So Tarbuck, I think, is going to whip this in with some pace. And you've got several yellow shirts in the box there.
Well, Tarbuck, let's see what he can do. Will he go for a shot? Will he go for a crossfield? Find out now. It's Tarbuck. He's just awaiting the referee's whistle. There's a three-man wall, I want to say, in front of him. It's just currently the pillars heavily blocking our view at the moment. So we will have to just wait, find out what Gosport's doing. It's Tarbuck. He steps up. He goes for a shot and it's palmed out by Pagel. It's a good save and he fizzles pretty far out actually from the rebound. But Richard McIntyre, he's won it as he passes forward into Finley Wall-Smith. Finley Wall-Smith right at the penalty area as he loops in the ball, finding the head of Joe Morrison, and it just falls backwards into Alfie Stanley. Alfie Stanley left of the 6-yard box. He passes all the way back into Bradley Tarbuck, 20 yards away from goal. Richard McIntyre, he does a short pass back into Tarbuck. Tarbuck, he's looking to do a cross, but it just takes a harsh ricochet. There has been appeals for a handball there. The handball coming from right, and Gosport, we will have another free kick, 25 yards away from goal, a lot further away from goal, but at least this free kick I can actually clearly see it, and it looks like Dutchy Hollins, he's also hovering over this free kick, so it's either going to be Hollins or Tarbuck with this free kick. Maybe a change of free kick tactics this one, Jeremy.
Yeah, well, he went straight for goal for the last one, didn't he? And this one I think it's more likely to, with the angle and the distance, is more likely to be a delivery rather than a shot on goal, but we'll see.
Well, it looks like it might be Tarbuck taking it. No, yeah, it will be Tarbuck taking it. As he loops the ball forward, it does try and find the head of Asher Yearwood, but he just can't get high enough and instead falls to Jones. But Gosport, they're still battling just outside of the box, and Tiverton, they're now coming forward after Jones. He's won a ball. Jones was just striding down the left-hand channel. It was Kavanagh who tripped in. Just had to stop that attack there, and Kavanagh, he will be receiving a yellow, and he is the first Gosport player to go in the book, and Kavanagh just taking one for the team there to stop that counter-attack.
Yeah, he knew what he was doing. He knew exactly what he was doing. A tactical foul, and as you say, takes one for the team. Yellow card.
Well, I've got to admit, the last couple referees we've had in the last few games, they've all been good. This one hasn't been too bad today. I would say so far hasn't put us foot wrong so far.
Yeah, well, to be fair though, other pundits up here in the press box just questioning the need for that at the cost of a yellow at this point.
Well, I mean, he does have to be careful now for the rest of the game. But Stanley, he lays the ball across into Asher Yearwood. Asher Yearwood, he's striding forward. Will he go for a shot? He chips forward. He tries to just chip one over Pagel in goal. It looked like Asher Yearwood, he was making a phenomenal run forward there, chopping forwards, backwards, dancing past the Tiverton defence, just trying to chip Pagel at the end. And in the end, the wrong decision, and could have just gone for that low-driven shot, which I think just going in the far corner would have served him better there.
What a magical run, though. So that took him past 3 or 4 defenders, and then got the shot away. Where it was, he tried to dink it more than anything. But yeah, a good chance for Gosport there. And you cannot ever rule him out.
No.
What a lively player he is. Now James is tweeting again, so you've got me for the next minute or so. But the game at a standstill. Now I believe the referee has given Tiverton a free kick 20 yards out, and Agbasi is having a little word with. Referee Rob Harrison there. Yeah, nothing more doing. It was a little clumsy from him, but Tiverton have a chance now. It's dead centre, maybe fully 30 yards out. So whether they'll venture for a shot at goal from this distance, I don't know. But they seem to be setting up for it, though, the purple-shirted visitors. 2-0 Gosport with 2 minutes until half-time. The board is being prepared for stoppage time, so that's coming any second, but I think we'll probably wait until this free kick is taken. James.
Well, like you just said there, Tiverton, they have got a free kick. I mean, I suppose it is a position where you can have a shot, and it is Jones there. He was just standing over it, just absolutely hacked it into one of the Gosport players there. I didn't see which player it was, but Tiverton, they've just launched another ball forward. Parker, he was just letting the ball run across into Evans as he was offside there, and Gosport just have another chance here just to let it just run out. I mean, only a few minutes left in this one, and I would imagine it will finish here 2-0 at half time.
Yeah, I think 3 minutes have been indicated.
Well, we just... Oh, I'm trying... 4 minutes added on. Well, we can confirm there will be 4 minutes added on here at the AI Stadium. So 4 minutes for either team to grab a goal here. I mean, 4 minutes, like I said, it's plenty of time to get a goal. It's Dan Woodin. He tries to turn, just trying to chip a ball over Britton. And Kavanagh, he does well. And now it's passed on to Tarbach. Tarbach, he chips the ball forward. Dan Woodin, it looked like he was going to head a ball forward. But Hollins, he just passes the ball forward and it goes out of play. Yeah, it did take a little deflection there. It must have been Jones with a late deflection there, and it's gone out for a Gosport corner. It's going to be Tarbach taking this corner, but I would imagine 4 minutes, just enough time. Gosport to cushion their lead. Tiverton to get a late goal back changes all the halftime talks if a goal does go in this late.
Well, it would certainly give almost no commentators curse here. Almost give Gosport checkmate in this game, but football's a strange creature.
Well, Tarbach, he lifts in the ball. Finds the head of Joe Morrison, and it's a glancing one. It looked like it was just fizzling towards that top left corner. I was hoping Stanley might have been able to divert it there at the far post, but just too high there.
Yeah, free header for Morrison there, and it was always going wide from the minute it left his forehead. So, and it was too high for Stanley to get anything on it. So that's a really good chance the Gosport haven't made anything of. But they can be happy with their half's work. You know, we've still got 3 minutes until the interval, even including this stoppage time period that's been called. So Gosport will undoubtedly be the happier of the two teams at the half-time interval, but it's a good chance to reset, isn't it? Whether you're winning or losing, it's a good chance to reset. Now, I have no doubt that Tiverton will go in there and just have a calm few minutes and try and rationalise things and try and come up with a game plan to try and turn the game around in the second half.
Well, I suppose if you're a Tiverton fan, you can't really get too carried away with this result. Yes, it is another loss. I mean, 2 points this season, but it's a great team against anyway.
Well, they're not there yet. And remember, James, 1 goal changes things.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Gosport, we did get a free kick. It was pushed forward, but Tiverton, they defended well. Did see them come forward for a little period, but it's gone out of play on the far side near the Harry Mitson stand. Around 15 yards, I want to say. Nope, they're leaving the ball, so it's going to be Finley Will-Smith taking it, probably 10 yards away from the halfway line. Finley Will-Smith, he passes back into Joe Morrison. Joe Morrison, he's had an excellent game so far. I mean, even though he's a defender, he's had a few good shots already from the corners. I mean, just shows how good Gosport have been in this half. Hopefully, we can see a repeat of the second half. But Max Evans, he's on the ball just inside the D. I mean, Parker, he's starting to put pressure on. But Evans, he just loops the ball forward, trying to find the head of Kavanagh, but just too heavy hit the pass there, which sees it go out for a Tiverton throw-in just nearby Pat and Joe's dugouts. And it's going to be Jones there. He lifts one forward, finding the head of Kavanagh. Wearing the yellow shirt today and has got a yellow card. So Kavanagh, he's got to be careful. But it is Jones. He lifts another ball forward, finds the feet of substitute Paul Agbesi. And Agbesi, he just hacks it out of play. Gosport really just hoping not to concede late on here. But Tiverton, they're just progressing it slightly ever forward. Now inside Gosport's half, deep inside Gosport's half. A ball has been pushed forward into Barker. Barker back into Jones, he's striding down this left-hand channel, surrounded by yellow bodies. He's doing well to keep hold of the ball, and he's still progressing down the left-hand channel, just working himself near the left corner flag before passing back into Barker. Barker, he lifts in the ball, trying to find Parker. Parker can't get a good enough touch, which sees Joe Morrison hack the ball forward, stealing the ball, but that clearance falls nicely to the head of Jones. Jones works the pass onto Thompson. Thompson coming down this right-hand channel up against Richard McIntyre, the young Oxford loanee. He's trying to win back the ball, but Jones says he's doing well and does just do well enough to deliver a ball, finding the head of right, but can't get a good enough connection. And Gosport once again trying to get him rid of it out of the danger zone. Ashley Yearwood, he's the latest man trying to put pressure down this right-hand channel, but Jones, he's doing excellent as he passes back into Baker. Baker, he's tossing, turning, trying to escape danger as he passes back into Britton. Britton looks up as he passes back across into Jones. Jones, he plays it in this left-hand channel. Jones is just going to take some time here, just trying to get the layoff into Baker. Baker, he's just left at the penalty box. Up against Tarbach. does well. He turns his man, finding the head of Parker with a cross, and it's worked his back onto Hall. And Ashley Eward, he's trying to clear it, but he's just struggling here. And it did clear it, and it's just gone out. It did look like it might be in a corner, but instead it has gone out for a goal kick. I mean, just a few minutes there where Tiverton were just heavy in pressure there, and it looked like Gosport could have just carved out a goal there, just nearly let one in.
Yeah, well, like I've said to you, they could have easily scored one there, right on the cusp of half time, which we are now. The 4 minutes are up, and suddenly 2-1, game's changed. And the complexion of this game changes just like that. Yeah, if Gosport go 3-0 up, then you're talking a different scenario. But Tiverton aren't out of this, not by a long way.
Well, Evans, he hacks a goal kick forward, trying to find the runner Stanley, but instead finds a Tiverton body. And the referee has now blown up for half-time, as it has finished here at the AI Stadium. Gosport 2, Tiverton 0. The two goals, well, one goal came from Alfie Stanley, that was the first goal, and the second came from Bradley Tarbuck, slicing a low-driven shot into the bottom right corner. So that does give Gosport the 2-0 lead going into the second half. Before we go to the break, I will be running you through some of the Summer League scores. ASC Tottenham, they're drawing 2-2 against Basingstoke. It is an added time there, so it does look like it's going to be finishing half time there. Bracknell, they're goalless against Havant and Waterlooville. Chertsey, they're currently 3-1 down against Winchester. So Chertsey, they have pulled a goal back. Dorchester, they're 2-0 up against Frometown. Gosport, like I said, it's finished here 2-0. Marlow, they're currently goalless against Gloucester City. Gloucester, we'll be playing them next week in the FA Cup, so make sure to watch out for that one. Merthyr, they're leading Sholing 2-0 in Wales. And Plymouth Parkway, they're trailing Walton and Hersham 2-1. Swindon, they're leading Poole 1-0. And it is half time where Taunton, they're currently trailing 2-3 against Hanwell Town. And Wimborne, they're drawing 1-1 against Hungerford. We'll return back into the second half. We will be doing a different live streams, but we'll make sure to return back to the second half, and we'll see you then.
That's this coming Wednesday. Next Saturday, FA Cup second qualifying round. We are